Yeah, this is Bang Bang Ray Hill. Please press the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much. Yeah. I used to knock about with a guy called Foul McGee. I've already said this a few times, but it was a right good power man, Foul. I mean, Foul was about 20, 21 stone, 22 stone. He was amateur. He could have turned pro any time. He's open. He had an open ticket. He could fight. He could go anywhere. Yeah. And I don't think I can't remember him ever getting beat. I mean, I think he had about 100 amateur fights. I don't think he'd ever get beat. I mean, he beat everybody. I mean, there's all fighting. He was a big traveller, Farrell. Very, very powerful. He works in this big, well, he owned it actually, a big tyre company, just the back of Harlington Hayes Station. And mate, powerful. I was just seeing him pick up these big tractor tyres and stack them up, yeah? But me and him used to go around all gyms, amateur gyms, fight, spar with other people, learn a lot, yeah? And Farrell was one of them people, he was with my sister-in-law, and me and him one day really, really fell out, yeah? It was silly, really, over nothing. It was over, I think it was over Linda. He'd done something to Linda or something, or he called me a name, done something like that, yeah? And I couldn't believe it. I thought, me and him were so close. What's he running me down for? He running me down for, you know what I mean? And I was a bit nutty. And I was involved with my mate. My mate was a panel beater. And my mate wound me up, saying, yeah, don't stand for that way. I said, listen, he can earn a full foul, he can have it, you know what I mean? He said, what, you fighting with him? I said, no, I ain't fighting with him. I don't row with a geezer. Fuck it. So I went down to where he lives, yeah, in Norfolk at that time. And it was indoors. Outside in the car park was this Mercedes. It was a collector's item. It lifted up and down. It was immaculate, you know, and it was his pride and joy. And I was shouting out, "Come downstairs here. I want to talk to you. Me and you got to have a fight." You know what I mean? And that's how it is as kids, isn't it? And we're not as kids. We were 17, 18, yeah. I think I just came up with my YP on my ball stalk. I was a bit of a nutty anyway. So I said, come down, come on, me and you got to have it off here, mate. I said, you can't be talking about me running me down. I ain't running you down and all this, that, and he kept pointing his finger at me, yeah? I went, listen, don't keep pointing your finger at me, stop all that, yeah? I said, come down here and have a chat and we're going to have it off, Val, you know, we're going to have a fight. I ain't going to buckle down at him. And he's giving it all that, nah, he said, leave it playing all that game. He went, you're going to, listen, I don't want to hurt you, eh? I said, don't hurt me. I said, get down here. And his motor, I had a big, in the boot of my car, I had a big rubber panel beating hammer, big fucking rubber thing. Listen, I smashed his car to pieces. Smashed the windscreens, the bumpers, everything. All the back of the boot, the front of it, I smashed it, all the doors, smashed it to pieces. Honestly, he was crying like a baby. I said, come down here. Now I'm really wound up. I mean, I'm more wound up now, smashing the car than I was before he went up there. I said, come down here. I've got to have you, you know what I mean? Anyway, he wouldn't have it, yeah? He just wouldn't have it. So I drove off. And before I know where you are, I'm just by my house in Acton. Go out of the car. I swear to God, right, about 5 or 6 guys run towards me, yeah, with hammers and whatnot have you, yeah. Listen, I ain't a coward, you know. I'm going to fight with anybody. I'm not having a row with 5 geezers with choppers and knives and all that stuff. I'll run down the road, yeah. I'm really, really fit anyway. There's no way of catching me. No, in a million years because they catch me. I was going, shum. But I know it's down to foul. So I'm just put my head down low, kept myself out of the way for about, 3 or 4 hours. I thought I'd go back. I went back. They smashed my Jag to pieces, yeah. I had a 4.2 Jag, yeah. And it was one of the old shape ones, a really, really nice one, yeah. They smashed it to pieces. Them days, what's it going to cost? 300 or 400 quid, one of them Jags? You know, but now they're worth about 30 grand, yeah. They smashed it to pieces, yeah. They smashed it. I was crying like a baby. You can imagine. This fella's done fella's car, which is more likely about 10 grand, worth about 200 grand a day. And there's me, smashed my little car, I smashed my car up. I was going mad, mate. I was going crazy then. I was really going into one, yeah. The eyes popped out of my head. I thought, right, that's war now, yeah. So I drive round to Linda, who's with at that time. I want to find out, yeah, where he is now, because he ain't where he is, where he was. Yeah, the car's still there. I smashed to pieces, but he ain't there, yeah. So I eventually find him, yeah, and me and him have it on the street. We have a right row. I'm on about a proper row. We're both fighters, you know. We're both boxers. We both can have a right fight, yeah. I'm smashing him to pieces. He smashed me to pieces. None of us are going to give up. There's none of this kicking game and all that getting hold of each other and the head on the floor. You know, it's all that, none of that crap. It's toe to toe, fisticuffs, yeah. And I'm giving it him. He's giving it me. I smashed to pieces. He smashed to pieces. And in the end, we looked at each other and we laughed, yeah. And we cuddled. I mean, Farrell put all my teeth right through my gums, yeah, tops of my gums, right through my gums. Yeah, he smashed all my teeth through my gums. I've got a big scar down here, yeah. He done all my eyes. He done my eyes, cut my eyes underneath and on top. It was proper, like a bare fist fight. And Farrell, big, he had a head twice as big as mine. I was smashing it to pieces. He done on my knuckles. I think he broke a couple of my knuckles, yeah? Broke a couple of my knuckles. But he kept putting his head down. But once you start fighting, it doesn't matter about broken knuckles. You keep going, you know what I mean? And I think I got the worst of it. I think I got worse of it. I got hurt worse than what he did, yeah? And we called it a day. We cuddled each other. We shook hands. And I said, listen, my car, you smashed my car up. I've got no car. He went, you smashed my car. I said, yeah, you've got lorries and cars. I said, come on, get me a car. He went, and it's because I was cuddling him, loving him, yeah? And he bought me another Jag, yeah? So really, me and him was right pals. And we become very, very close, good friends, going everywhere. And he took one of my mates to Ireland. I think it was the other mob. I think he was one of the other mob, because when he went there, he used to sing all the Irish songs, and my mate shit himself. My mate was petrified of him because he thought he was one of that lot, which he is. You can't, I mean, he couldn't really muck about him too much. But me and him, being as we were like that, fighters, he isn't going to get me done. He isn't going to get me killed. You know what I mean? Just have a proper straight street fight. But some of the things me and him had done, mate, I mean, we used to go in clubs, and Farrell dresses like a proper traveller with the boots and all the turned up trousers and all that, you know what I mean, and the scarf on his neck and all the hats and all this, and you know, he loved it, yeah. And he was intimidating. You want to say intimidating? He was intimidating. Big guy, 22 stone, 6'4", 6'5", big, powerful shoulders. I mean, you see that Joe Eden. Joey's big. I mean, Joe's a pal of mine from my mate Danny. But Joe's big hands. But Farrell is similar to Joe Egan. He's similar shape, similar size. The only difference with Joe Egan, Joe sparred with Mike Tyson. I think Joe was Mike Tyson's sparring partner for some time. I mean, change the subject a little bit. Joe Egan, mate. This geezer, Joe Egan, mate, I swear. I know I said before, and he come to my house, Joe, with my mate Danny. I just phoned my mate Danny up this morning. I wanted my mate Danny to do a podcast with me, but he's not allowed because of his he's doing films, producers and all that won't let him do podcasts, yeah. So I'm going to go and see him next week, have a chat to him. He's going to give me some idea about the book and all this, that and the other, what happens with this and what happens with that, put me straight there. Danny, Winter something. He's done about 56 films. The guy's a gentleman. Can really have it, mate. Fuck me, can really have it. He trains every day. He don't stop training. He reminds me so much of what's his name? The one that's who plays the Craze. He played double the Craze. I forget his name now. He reminds me of him. He trains all the time. Every day, my mate Danny trains. He's always sit up, press up, sit up, burpees, leg thrust. He doesn't stop training. He's fit. He's so fit, and his face is crisp. Like all crisp, and it's all cut in, and and he's look at him. His body's sharp, mate. He trains so much, and I really respect people that get training, don't stop, up in the morning, 4, 5 o'clock, running, yeah? He runs maybe 6, 7 miles a day. Every morning he's up. It's like a bug. He's like a bug. He can't stop it, yeah? He said to me that, I say to him that sometimes I have a day or two off, yeah? He went, Ray, he said, I can't do it. He said, if I had 2 days off, he said, I couldn't motivate myself to get back to the gym. He said, I'd be lazy, I'd have another day off, because in your mind you're thinking, I've got to go through that 2 hours. But if you train every day and don't think about it, just get out of bed straight on the road. He says, nothing better, Ray. He said, when I first started running on the road, he said, I'll get out of my bed, I'll have a few bits and pieces, a few pills here, a few pills here and there, health pills, this pills, that pills. So a little drink and I'll be on the road, yeah? He said, I'll take my water bottle with me and my phone, plug it in my ear and I'll be gone. He said, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, he said, very rarely would I run on the road, yeah? It would always be around the fields, around the cobblestones and all them sorts of things, yeah? He said, I didn't like running on the road. He said, I didn't really like running on the pavement. He said, because that time in the morning, you might meet arseholes, you know what I mean? Walking down the road, want to row you. He said, so I hit the fields, yeah? He said, and I hit the fields, and I like running up there. He said, a couple of times, he said, I've been chased by cows and by bulls. I said, fuck that. How about that being chased by big bulls running through the park, but running through the fields? But I've got big respect for him. He's very, very fit. He trains very hard. And he's my mate, and I'm going to go see him next week. I would love to do a podcast with him, but he said his people say, no way, you can't do it, yeah. But I'm definitely going to do one with Joe Smith. I was supposed to go and see Joe Smith today. A traveller. Joe's got, he does books called Kushti, podcast called Kushti, sorry, and he's done a book called Kushti. I've got the book over there. Nice geezer. He knows all about boxing. He's had about 13, 14 fights himself. He can handle himself. He's no fool, mate. Big respect to Joe Smith. I like him as a person. He's not a bully. He talks proper. He can be a bully, but he ain't. You know what I mean? He's just nice. Comes across really nice. He's got a scrapyard. Was gonna go and see him today with my mate Terry, but Terry's meeting a young lady. Terry loves a young lady. You wouldn't think so. Anyway, and I was supposed to go today, but I couldn't, as I say, I couldn't because my mate was meeting someone. And so we're going to go Monday, hopefully, go see Joe, have a chat with Joe about Matt Legg and Norman. Norman and Matt Legg together is 2 nice people, yeah. As I said, what would be nice, what would be really nice is Norman's about the same age as me. Would be nice if me and Norman could get in the ring together and have a little scrap, you know what I mean? A little stage fight, it'd be terrific, mate. That'd be lovely. Me and him getting there 2 or 3 rounds. Yeah, I like that. You know what I mean? So I can have a talk about that. That'd be fantastic. Me and him to get in the ring together. I haven't boxed now for years. Even though I do a lot of shadow boxing and all that, but I haven't actually put a pair of gloves on and done anything like that. You know what I mean? But it would be fantastic. Because when I see Matt Legg out there, and I see him training, and I see him sparring around, it gives me that something. It makes me a bit. Do you know what I mean? I feel, oh, mate, I ache. I ache. You know, I want to get in there and do something. It's terrible, man. It's a bug, isn't it? That is the bug. You know, because when you're fighting, I mean, when I started as a kid, as a junior really, and come up through the things, you know, like senior and all this, that, and the other, and go through all the motions or whatever, and going down the gyms, the pro gyms and all these gyms with Farrell, and sparring, and on the bag, on the ball and all that game, and have a little bit of trouble with Joe Bugner, not me so much, Pat, yeah, and other things, you know, and not turning up for Mickey Duff, you know, and all that, and Georgie Francis and Mickey Duff, not turning up for them to turn pro, and it all comes back, doesn't it, you know, and I say to myself, I wonder how far I would have got as a pro, yeah, as a good pro, yeah, I wonder how far I got, because, I mean, I was throwing my own as a kid sparring, I was a good amateur, everybody wanted me to turn pro, I could really, really bang, you know, and then what I decided to do, I decided to go into armed robberies, yeah, and you might go and get 10 grand, you might go and get 3.5 grand each, 4 grand or whatever it is, sometimes you might get 50 grand each, sometimes you might get 20 grand each, but because money comes so easy, what you do with it? Nothing. The old Bill know the people around who's doing it, because the way we spend money. And the old Bill know that we are what we are, and they're watching us all the time, especially the robbery squad. They're on you, mate, they don't leave you alone. And they're going to catch you, like shadowed out doing armed robberies, because when I always went away in the 70s, well, as an armed robber, the prisons were full of armed robbers. And I'm on about proper armed robbers. Companies, big companies of armed robbers. And when they got their depositions comes in potato sacks. I'm telling you. They'd have 4 or 5 potato sacks full with deps, yeah, and verbal. They'd have a bag full of verbal and 4 or 5 other things for the depositions, yeah. Everybody in my days, 70s, 60s, 70s, even up to 80s, late 79s, 80s, used to get a thing called verbal. Yeah, it happens, yeah. And what the old bills would do was get you in a motor, or get you in a cell, get you to say something, you know. And that's why the no comment statement started coming in, because of the verbal. No comment, no comment. Before, you could talk to them as such, yeah. But all of a sudden you realise that the things you talked about wasn't on the depositions. It was things they've written in, you know what I mean? Because they listen to you talking and they got the way you talk and they're writing it down as you talk. So when you get in the dock, I never done that, and then it's exactly the same as you're talking then. So it was verbal, and so people then realised it was easier to say no comment. No comment. No comment come in because of that, because of the verbal, yeah? Because of the verbal of the police used to give you. When people say, no, I was got no comment, listen, no comment come in because of that, yeah? Because the police used to verbal you something really, really bad. They was good at it, and they was really good at it. My father-in-law, Mickey Johnson, right, when he went up north, yeah, and they was known as the Thursday gang, when I went up north, the old bit out there, they all got chucked a big thing up there. There was, I think a lot of them got nicked for it and all that. Whether or not they got put away for it, and more like got discharged. I don't know what happened anyway. But my father-in-law, when he went up there and he was doing armed robberies up there, he was doing them on a Thursday. That's why they called it the Thursday game. He was doing robberies up there, and all of a sudden they get nicked. And what do the police do? The robbery squad, they're lucky about there, mate. They put plastic bags over their head. Plastic bags over their head, tied it up, until they made a statement. Right? My father-in-law and a couple of others fainted. Fainted, mate. Honestly, fainted. It's like, just wouldn't do it. Would not write a statement. My father-in-law was like that. My father-in-law was staunch as they come. Really staunch, yeah? And about 3 or 4 others of them made statements, yeah, put the bags over and nearly fucking killed them. So they started doing it. But my father-in-law, it knocked my father out. He didn't die, obviously, so, but I think he got 18 years or 15 years, I'm not quite sure. They all got big bird of furs again. But that's what the old boys used to do in them days. Verbal you up and put plastic bags over it. You think I'm joking? That's what they used to do, mate. That's a proper robbery squad. Yeah, proper robbery squad, you know what I mean? They didn't muck about, mate. They didn't muck about. And when you see the film called Sweeney, and when he was coming baseball bats and all that, that's how they were, mate. And they weren't like little old Bill. Those big lot, mate. Big lots just coming with baseball bats, coming with big boiler suits on, coming with the bats and batter you, yeah? And handguns, just put one in you. Yeah, mate, it was, in them days, the robbery squad were different kettle of fish. They're more like we are. Honestly, they're like us. They're like us. They're proper gangsters. They're worse gangsters than us because they get away with it, yeah? If they come in your place and they take 50 grand, they're going to tell the judge that they took 10 grand. When they go to the police, when they go to do the thing, 10 grand. They say to the guy, do us sort of favour, we found 10 grand in your place. You fucking didn't. Okay, we're telling we found 50 grand or 60 grand or 80 grand or 100 grand. You're going to get plenty of bird. If we say 10 grand, it's nothing, is it? And you still got the same bird. You didn't realise, when the judge sentenced you, mate, he sentenced you a big bird, mate, in them days. The judges in them days, you know, I mean, you had some Denning, Lord Denning. Oh my God. Must be, I mean, there must be people out there now that remember Lord Denning, Justice Denning. Oh, he was bad, mate. If you went in front of Judge Denning, you was guilty. Doesn't matter if you weren't not guilty, you was guilty. If you went up for him for armed robberies or GBH, or anything like that, attempted murders on a police officer or robberies, you was guilty. And you had, it's the worst thing in the world. You went in front of Denning, you was in trouble. Then you had Melfi Stevens, who'd done the craze. Melfi Stevens, mate, he was a bad judge. He was one of the worst judges ever. Him and Denning together. Then you had Griffiths Jones, the common sergeant that done me. Another one. Bad judges. Then you had Lord Widgery. Bad judges. Then you had Melfi Stevens, you had Griffiths Jones, you had Denning, then you had Argyle, then you had Abdullah, then you had Mason, you had Miskin, you had Judge Slot. Listen, there was so many judges on the system in the 70s and the 80s, honestly, that was old judges, old school judges, mate, that believe, and they sentences they give was old sentences, mate. They didn't give you a chance. When you went in front of one of them judges, mate, you was in trouble. Judge Denning, they reckon, used to come, I've never seen him, I've heard about it. When he used to come in court, the whole front of his tunic, right, or what do you call it, used to be full of what is it, snuff? I think it was coke myself. Coke, I think it was coke. But full of snuff, all white stuff down the top. He was complete nut, mate. He was a nut. Judge Denning. I mean, please look it up. Google it, Judge Denning. I think he was the number one. I think the one I had, Griffiths Jones, was the common sergeant. That's the number one judge. But he might have been common sergeant then, yeah? But I know Melfi Stevens was also, might have been common sergeant. I'm not quite sure. But Melfi Stevens was a bad one. Abdullah, fuck me, mate. There's a lot of judges. There's judges in them days, mate. You was in trouble. You was in so much trouble, mate, you went in front of them judges. Oh my God. You was going to get mashed up. And I've told you before, but it is funny, yeah? What's more funny, that in our days, you go in a cell, four up in a cell, two bunk beds either side, nothing in it, completely bare. But everyone's having a laugh, everyone has a giggle. You can't talk. Once you come out of the cell, you don't talk. You get nicked for talking. It's ridiculous, you know what I mean? Seriously. You get nicked for talking. Everybody's walking around with newspapers because it's the right they're bum with, right? Anyway, but when I was like in them days, you get this, "How you going, Jolly?" Like that, and they go, "All right, mate. What's happening? I'm in court in the morning. Who you got? Some judge called Melvin Stevens." See you later, mate. You're going to go get a 20 stretch with him. He's the worst judge on the system. And that is what you get. All them judges was the worst judges on the system. And you get people that didn't want to go to court in the morning. They go sick, special sick, you know what I mean? And I think because they've gone special sick, they're going to get away from that judge. But this judge was so nasty and so shrewd. Okay, I'll wait for him to come back. Yeah, how long does he be sick for? A week, 2 weeks? I'll wait for him. And when you went in front of him, he was in trouble. I was given bail, yeah, from Judge Griffiths Jones. I think it was Griffiths Jones. I was given bail, right, because I took these things, these pills that made me have a cold, yeah, and I could hardly breathe. So the judge gave me bailed me to an hospital. They come and pick me up anyway. I fucked off from an hospital. My mum and my sister stood bail for me, so they're responsible for my bail. And they're going to get put away. My mum, my father, I'll be in a court and the judge says if I don't turn up, they're going to put me away. I can't allow that. My mum and my sister, fuck me. So I'll give myself up, yeah? I goes in front of a judge called Miskin. And Miskin is a nasty judge. He's a really nasty judge. It's at the Old Bailey, Miskin, Judge Miskin. So I go in front of him, his little old boy. These little old boys want to kill him, you know what I mean? Little old boy sitting there. Do you know what? All courts, right, are set out like a boat. Yeah, they're set out like a boat. Because the boat law is the law, you know what I mean? The boat law, it's all set out like boats, you know? Anyway, he's sitting there. He's in charge of the boat, isn't he? He's sitting there, and he's gone me, Judge Miskin. Oh, dear Lord. I was in front of a judge called Judge Slot, I think, Judge Slot. Good judge. To give me bail. I think it was Judge Slot or Griffiths. I can't remember me. I was saying Griffiths Jones. Let's keep it Griffiths Jones, yeah? Which was a bad judge. So Griffiths, I think I got 7 years then. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, Judge Miskin goes, Mr. Hill, you, this, that and the other, you took liberties with the judge, this, that and the other. If I was your judge, Mr. Hill, now I would sentence you to a sentence of no less than 12 years. And I would sentence you no less than 5 years to run consecutive, like fucking consecutive, with the robbery. 17 years. 17 years. What? This is him, Miskin. I went, poor. He said, but I'm going to put this case back, Mr. Hill, for your judge to sentence you, yeah? Because it's not my case. But if this judge wants to hand it down to me, I'm right liable to take it. I come out of there, mate. I never slept for about 4 weeks when I went to Wandsworth, yeah? I was in a right bad way. And one day, called me up. You got a visit by your QC, yeah? Goes down there, sees my QC, and it's Lord Widgery. I think it was Lord Widgery. Says you got your judge, Griffiths Jones. And now Griffiths Jones has got the smell of what he's going to give me because of what happened. Anyway, I've got 7 years, I think, or 9 years or 11. Anyhow, I don't really remember, really. It's such a long time ago, all the sentences I've been given, yeah. But you've got to be careful with them old judges. I don't think there's none about anymore. I think they're all passed away. You know, they're all... but you see them, when you got the House of Lords all coming out, and Parliament and all this crap and what have you, you see them walking down the road with all the wigs. They're the ones, mate. Oh, they're the ones. They're the ones in the House of Lords. They're the ones that sit in the House of Lords. You look at them boys, mate. They're the ones that are going to give you one as a bird. Yeah. And it's unbelievable how sentences can change. I've seen people go up there for attempted murders, cutting people up, and go and get 4 years, yeah? And then I see someone go up for GBH on a police officer and go get 20 years. It don't make no sense to me. Or there going, you get someone go up there who's just stole 150 grand, didn't get, just armed robbery, didn't let no shots off or nothing. The gun was an imitation, but it doesn't matter. If it's imitation, it's still classed as a firearm because the people that you're putting the gun to don't realise that it's not a real gun. That as far as they're concerned, it's a real gun, and the fear, they can't sleep for weeks and all this, that and the other. Whew. And their judge, and that judge is going to whoop it up you, mate. You go in front of my boys for anything to do with armed robbery, mate, you're going to get big, big, big sentences. I remember, right, when I went to a big dinner thing, yeah, big dinner party, and I was with a girl called Eileen, and she was absolutely stunning, and she was a bank manageress, believe it or not, she was beautiful, but I got her on a Coke, right, and I, you know, it was just got on the Coke, and that's it, and she was with me, she wouldn't leave me alone. I went to a great big dinner with her. We had a right good time. And this woman came up to me with glasses. She was quite nice, quite attractive. Came up and started talking to me, but she thought her shit don't stink. And the way I talked was different to everyone was talking. Everyone was, yeah. Everybody talking like that. I didn't, they're all talking like that. Barring me, I'm talking like I'm talking now. Yeah. So she's saying to me, hey, what sort of job do you do? I can't see you in the bank, the way you talk. I said, no, I'm an armed robber. She went, what? I said, I'm an armed robber. I'm the one that robs your banks. Oh, what? Listen, the worst thing that I could have ever said is that I'm one of the ones that rob your bank. She screamed her gaff down. She was crying like a lunatic, saying, you're one of the ones that put guns in our faces, right? Because in them days, there was no screens. There was little screens, yeah? The ones that got the big screens put up was the Wembley lot. Jimmy Wilkinson, Bertie Smalls, all that lot, yeah? They're the ones that got the big screens pulled up because they used to jump over the counters, smash things to pieces, so they realised they've got to put big screens up, big bulletproof, sledgehammer-proof glasses. But it was the Wembley lot that put up, thanks to that lot, they put up the big screens, yeah? Because before, you could jump over a counter and it'd be, well, I don't know, a foot maybe, a foot high, maybe 2 foot high. But now, it goes straight to the ceiling. In the 80s, it went straight to the ceiling because the Wembley lot, yeah, they ruined it all that lot. They was the top robbers, mate. The Wembley lot. No one was safe when they was about. Believe they was good. I mean, I've got a couple of my pals, right, that I'd love to get hold of to do podcasts with. They've got 18, 20 years for the same thing, yeah, and they are proper old school armed robbers, like myself, yeah, old school. They're not done as much better as me because I was an idiot, but they proper armed robbers, mate. And I'd love to get hold of them and do a podcast, but they won't do it. They're saying for reasons. But, mate, I listened to their stories. The other day we were sitting down talking, and I was listening to their stories, and I thought to myself, God, I'd love to get on. I'd love to get them on my podcast. You get 1 million views. I swear, you would not believe it. You know what I mean? You talk to them and think, oh my God. Yes, that's how it was. You know, like to, going on something, game, mate. In them days, everybody was game. Everybody. It didn't matter. Everybody was game, Anybody doing armed robberies in them days was game. And when you went to prison, everybody in prison was in for armed robbery. It was because everybody was getting fit up, wasn't it? It was all fit up by this fucking thing called verbal. It was terrible, mate. I mean, the prison was Keiko, but not everybody obviously got guilty, but it was all verbal, and when you go in places like Wandsworth or Brixton, and you see people coming in with 10 bags of depositions in potato sacks, and you're looking at them and you think you got one verbal that big, about that well big, one verbal that big. They're in trouble. They're in trouble, you know what I mean? And then you go in and get a little bag full, and you wind up getting 20 odd years, and they wind up getting 10s. Anyway, I love the old school. I love all my old boys. I'm going to really dig deep, and start trying to remember names that I was in Wandsworth with, Brixton with, the Ville. I think they went to Ville. Let me tell you a little story about the Ville. This is true. I ain't saying the person's name because it's one of my kids' mums, and it causes a bit more aggravation than it should do, Anyway, so I used to work in a place called Crispin's Wine Bar in Ealing Broadway, and loved the job. Going there, I run it. I mean, I used to look maybe 200-300 people by myself, but obviously I had lots of aggravation, lots of fights in there, but not so I can't say I didn't handle. Sometimes I've got a clump of here with bottles and all that. I've had plenty of fist fights there. I never lost a fight in there, but I've been hurt a few times, Anyway, this girl I was with caused me bundles of trouble. So, because women, when a woman's got a scone, not a scone, not a butter scone, a scone, When a woman's got a scone, you could be in lots of trouble. And the one at that particular time had a scone, and I was in lots of trouble. I worked in a wine bar, and I had a guy who owned the wine bar, Ken Edwards. He got involved with Khashoggi, it's another story, But Ken Edwards, nice guy, lived in Ealing Broadway, beautiful place, Mount Avenue, beautiful place, massive house. Anyway, give me the job, loved me, paid me regular. One day, I'd have a row with this woman, and she wanted me locked away. She hated my guts. She phoned me up at Crispin's Wine Bar, and Ken Edwards picked the phone up upstairs, bibbed the people in the club, in the wine bar, to get hold of me. It was a phone call. Bibbed it. I picked the phone up and talking to him. But what Ken Edwards did, being a nosy fucker, he kept the phone on, so he was listening to the conversation. She's saying, and we had a conversation. I said, well, I told her to go fuck off and leave me alone. I don't want to get involved in any problems with her. Leave me alone. She said, you this, you that, and anyway, I cut a long story short. Then she started crying. The next day she went and see a solicitor and the police. Told them that I threatened to kill her and I was going to come around the place and chop her up on the phone. But Ken Edwards is listening to all this. Anyway, I goes home. The police bash my front door down in my place. Buckle me up, handcuff me up anyway. So they take me back to the station. Bomb, charge me. I've got to go to court in the morning. I've got to go to Brentford County Court. It wasn't a magistrate's court. It was a county court because it was domestic, Go there. All of a sudden, goes in court. She's telling the judge that I threatened to kill her, this, that, and the other. I was going to come around and chop her up. I went, beg your pardon, sir. I work in a wine bar. I ain't going to do things like that. She's giving me grief on the phone. I just told her to go away and leave me alone. The judge then let it go for a little whilst he has to think about it and come back. Whilst he was doing that, I was let out. Well, not let out, I was out. So I went to the cafeteria downstairs. Whilst I was in the cafeteria, she was in there with her barrister, which is more likely copping hold of her, I don't know. So I'm sitting down there having a cup of tea. I looked over to her and I went, oh, and put me out like that. She said to her barrister that I went like that to her, right? I'm going to catch your throat. It's like it was going like that, all right, love, like me, all right, babe, like that, and rather than I'm going to cut your throat. So she's told her barrister, but I don't know she's told her barrister. I goes upstairs to court. Barrister jumps up. He said, Your Honour, he said, we was just downstairs in the cafeteria. That man over there said to his girlfriend that he's going to cut her throat, kill her. He went mad, the judge. Mad. They put me in Pentonville, but they put me in Pentonville Hospital. And they put me in there for a thing called sine die. I went, what's sine die? They took all my clothes off, put this white suit on me. What's going on? I thought I was being nutted off or something. Well, it was. It was a thing called sine die, and sine die means indefinite. It means indefinite. It means a year and a day. I went, what the hell? At the time, I couldn't believe it. So now, but what it is, I'm there, but I've got to go back to the court over something. The judge is going to recommend that I go to whatever, Broadmoor, fucking some of them nut houses for mental fucking treatment and all that game, right? So I goes there, but my QC, my barrister, sorry, I told him to go around and see Ken Edwards. So say to Ken Edwards, can you explain to me that she phoned me up and it wasn't no verbal, I didn't give her no verbal, but when he went to see Ken Edwards, not only did Ken Edwards say what he said, he told him what he heard on the phone, and he'd come to court to give evidence that day. Stood up in court, give evidence that day about my whatever, and the judge went absolutely off his rocker. The same judge that wanted to nut me off. Now he's got to let me out. He knows he's got to let me out. He knows what he's done was wrong. He's got to let me go. He apologises to my barrister. He doesn't apologise to me. He apologises to my barrister. Not apologises to me, but not direct to me. Direct to my barrister that I'm free to go. I walked out there, mate, with Ken Evans. I was cuddling and hugging him, and called him. I said, thanks, mate, for listening to my conversation. I couldn't believe it, yeah? She then tried to get me put away again over the same thing, but it wouldn't stand me twice, you know what I mean? I went, no way, you know what I mean? But be careful, mate. But imagine that, sine die, indefinite. And the people, even now, locked away for that sentence. It means a year and a day. What it means is that in that year, if you have any contact with that woman or any threats or anything, she might phone up the court or phone up the police and say he's threatening to kill me over in prison, getting people to come in my house. It's just the verbal. We come up to court on the day and the judge sentences you for another year and a day. So it's an indefinite sentence. So imagine that, I'd have been still in there. I'd have gone mad. I'd have killed. Anyway, this goes on forever and ever and ever, yeah? Things I want to talk to you about other things that are happening in prison. But this is Bang Bang Radio. Please press the like button and subscribe. Have a nice day. Yeah, bye-bye.